was it like growing up in Hermosa Beach in early 80s?
You know, it was a very cool place to grow up, having the beach right in your front yard pretty much, and being able to grow up surfing and skating, and then the music that went along with it. It was a pretty good place to grow up compared to like freaking Kansas or somewhere where you're just staring at the cows all day. So we had a lot of stuff to do, a lot of trouble to get into, and a lot of racket to make, and a lot of really great bands came from our very tiny little town. You know, it's a very small town, and you know, Black Flag, Circle Jerks, Descendants, all these great bands came from there. So it was like you didn't really have a choice. You got into punk music, and that's what you did.
It was such a good place for punk rock music, and you know, more bands were coming out of there than from LA, let's say.
It probably just had to do with, I mean, you just had this, like, a lot of different elements went into it, but you had like a kind of a working class environment. You had the whole anti-authoritarian sports like surfing and skating, which were very rebellious to begin with. But then you also had this working class people who also, there's a lot of rich people around them, so they were pissed off with the rich people, and there was also a lot of partying and drugs and all this type of shit, and it was just a, you know, the same thing with like London and New York. It's just like there was almost too much shit going on, you know, and then like punk rock just became a nice way to give your middle finger to the mainstream, you know.
Asked if you're related to Charles Lindbergh.
It does pop up every once in a while, you know. That would be great if I were, but yeah, he was the most popular American when he was alive. I'm actually the Lindbergh baby.
Yeah.
I'm just a part of the machinery, a part of God's electrical dream. Not that I was using the system, but the system was using me.
You wrote a book about the very special experience. Tell us about that.
Well, I was working on a book about the Hermosa Beach punk scene and all the bands that came out of there, and then was getting into writing. I always wanted to write some kind of book, so I figured writing about what you know and what I grew up with, which is the Hermosa punk scene. And I was also writing out about what it was like for my old band Pennywise, and for me to now be a dad and have to be dealing with all that shit. And then someone said, "Hey, you should write a book, Punk Rock Dad," and I, you know, sketched it out, and it all of a sudden got. Someone bought the rights to it, and so it's kind of taken a life of its own. But the cool thing is, it's like everywhere I go, like a lot of different places, I'll meet some dad who like grew up listening to the Ramones and the Sex Pistols, and now he's a dad, and they totally get it. Like those guys, like, man, it's exactly like you said exactly everything that I feel. So it's cool to have that shared experience with other guys, you know, that now that we're all at the age where we're having kids and starting families, that, you know, you can go through it with the same sense of rebelliousness, but still be a good parent, you know, and still, you know, it's hard though when you come from an anti-authoritarian background to now be authority for your kids. It's like they're like, why should I listen to you? All your songs tell people not to listen to anyone. So, hey, we are
the Black Pacific,
and you are watching MULATSCHAG, the only show you need, bitch. Can you say bitch?
MULATSCHAG!